Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.
Shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. As y'all know, I'm kind of under the weather, but you know, the show must go on, man. So I'm gonna try to drop this story on y'all right fast while I got the energy and the strength. But I'm rumbling, so all the well wishes, I appreciate it, man. I'll be well soon. You know, by me being under the weather or whatnot, I know y'all can hear it still in my voice, but I was watching old movies, just sitting around watching old movies, man, and I watched the movie Life. It's one of my classics, you know, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Love that movie, real funny, real funny. A lot of real analogies in that movie, like Jangalangs and Hoppin' Bob, you know. There are a lot of Hoppin' Bobs and Jangalangs in the prison system, especially the system I was in. I'm sure it's like that all over the universe, but they definitely exist, man. Jangalang and Hoppin' Bob exist, you know. And when I say that, I mean by, you know, the mentality and the way they act and the way they was portrayed in the movie. You know, you have Jangalangs and you have Hoppin' Bobs, you know. And I probably have met more, I would probably say I met more Hoppin' Bobs than I have Jangalangs, or it's not that too much, it's not too much difference, you know, it ain't too far apart. I've met both, a lot of both of them, but I would probably say more Hoppin' Bobs. And what I mean by Hoppin' Bobs is, if you remember in the movie, you know, the character Hoppin' Bob is like, he was locked up, but he worked with the COs, with the police. You know, he worked with them instead of, you know, actually feeling like he was a convict or inmate. He always felt like he was above, you know, that status because of the simple fact that, you know, they gave him special privileges more than likely because, you know, he working with them. And, you know, he giving up information, he telling, you know, if you oppose him, you go against him, then, you know, the police gonna come down on you. Just like in the movie, when the dude first explained about Hoppin' Bob, he said, this here fella is Hoppin' Bob. You run afoul of him, you run afoul of me. You know what I'm saying? So he basically letting you know, if you got a problem with Hoppin' Bob, then you got a problem with the administration. And like I say, there's a lot of those dudes in the system I'd have met over the years. I'd have met dudes in the system over the years that have had, man, so much privilege that you wouldn't even think they was locked up, even though they was locked up, you know. And they just get institutionalized to, you know, to the best that I can explain it. They get institutionalized, to my knowledge, because they become a part of the system. Whereas they feel like they at home, they feel like they can operate and do things, you know, that other people can't do. And some type of way in their mind, they done locked it in there like they really ain't locked up, you know. But when all actuality, you locked up, you ain't home with your family, you can't go and come as you please. But you had some that had so much carte blanche on the institution that they can move around on the institution freely. I mean, freely, you know, even during lockdown stages. And when we on lockdown stages, that's like when the whole compound is locked down and they coming around and going in every cell and they shaking out every cell. They going through all your property, your letters, your cosmetics, your food, you know, everything. They checking everything in your cell. They checking your electronics and making sure it's yours, making sure your name engraved on it, making sure that you got paperwork to prove that you bought this, that you ain't buy it off the yard, you ain't take it from somebody. Because like I say, you got dudes in there that sharp, man. They you know, they gonna find a way to do everything. If they got a stolen TV, they may take a stolen TV and take sandpaper and sand the name off that has been engraved on by property, and use a tattoo gun or whatever they make and engrave their own name on it, or engrave the name on it, the person that they selling the stolen TV to make it look legit. And I'm talking about dudes do this to perfection. So you would need paperwork to show that it's yours, but then you got dudes that know how to dock the paperwork. So it's a vicious game in there, man. It's a vicious game. So you got to be on top of your game, and you got to be on top of stuff like that. But you got them Hoppin Bobs, man. If they're around and they know anything, and I mean anything, then you can rest assured if you in the wrong, you going down, the people going to have all the information on you. They going to know what you did, what you stole, what you got in your cell, who it belonged to, how long you had it, and so on and so forth. And it ain't like, a normal guy where you could just, he telling, or he done told, and you want to run down on him and hurt him and do something to him. If you do that to one of them Hoppin Bobs, man, you going up under the jail. And 9 times out of 10, you going up under there with a brutal beating, because them COs going to put it on you to let you know, and to send a message to everybody else. Yeah, don't mess with this dude. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your hands on him. Don't threaten him. Don't, get aggressive with him. None of that, And a lot of young dudes come in there and they get caught up with that, because they'll see an old dude like that. And normally it is an old dude, sad to say it's a dude that done did a whole lot of time, or, sometimes they done been like that since they came in. They done got up under the administration. But 9 times out of 10, it be a dude that did a lot of time, and he may feel like he ain't going home or whatever. And, he get to working and impress the people, and then he be around the people, then he get to talking to the people, then he think he friends with the people, and then he think he one of the people, and then next thing you know, they giving them all types of perks, man. They got them working over there in administration. They got them working in the warden's office. They got them, buffing the hallways. They coming in and bringing in food and, home food, and he eating the home food while he over there in administration. He drinking that hot, good coffee they got, Maxwell House and whatnot, while we over here drinking kefir, and, he eating in the staff dining room and stuff like that, man. Yeah, that goes down. It goes down in there. And, I think, like when I was in... when I was on Nottoway, right before I was on Nottoway, before I left, they had a dude. He's been working in the system a long time. He probably locked up longer than me, probably close to 40 years. I heard he just recently made parole. And they called him Buffalo, right? And everywhere that I ever been with Buffalo over my whole bit, man, Buffalo was always the dude that was buffing them floors. I don't even know why they call it Buffalo. Now that I think about it, buffing floors, Buffalo. I don't know if that was an analogy that went together or they always called him Buffalo. But, man, he going to buff them floors everywhere he go. And I'm talking about he going to have them floors looking like marble. They will move him from block to block. And he'll go from different parts, man, and he'll be in there and he'll just get the floor right and get the floor nice and shiny and sparkly and whatnot. They need all of that stuff for when the people that come in, the big wigs from Richmond and whatnot, and the people that come in that view the institution or from other institutions to have walk-arounds, they always clean up. They always try to have the place looking spotless and, so they can put on that fake facade like this is a professional run, clean institution, which I ain't never been on near one of them in my life. But they will put that facade on like that's what's going on, and everything will be all clean. Like they get a week notice before somebody's coming, and that whole week will be cleanup week. They be in there just on you, man. We need all the workers out here. We need y'all to wipe down the floors. We need y'all to buff the floors. We need y'all to clean the showers. We need y'all to get in there. They'll get a paint crew out and paint the whole. They do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Faking the funk to the fullest. They do all of that when they know somebody coming in. On a regular basis, they could care less. More or less, they can care less. The place be nasty. The showers be filthy. The floors be scraped up and dirty, But when somebody's coming, boom, 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 man, they get to working and get down to it. And that's where they got dudes like Buffalo. They'll put them in block to block and let them get them floors shiny. And the thing about it is, them dudes will get so caught up in that stuff, they'll really believe that they, that this is, a heck of a job, man. Like they really doing something. They'll get mad at you when you walking across the floor or something, you got your chair, like on certain institutions, you got your own chair in your cell or whatnot. Like even on our way, everybody got their own personal chair. So a little plastic chair, it ain't nothing special, but because there's not enough seats in there, too many dudes locked up. So if you walking across the floor and you taking your chair with you, if you dragging your chair on the floor, man, them dudes will have an attitude with you, man. They'll say something to you as if it's their floor, and like, hey, man, pick your chair up, man. What? Man, you better go ahead on, man, But they'll do that, and then if you persist to do it, 9 times out of 10, they ain't even really built like that, but they know they got the administration behind them. And you persist to do it, the next thing you know, you will have a sergeant or somebody pulling up on you talking about, man, look, don't be dragging your chair across the floor when you know that couldn't have came from nobody but that person who asked you not to do it themselves. See, they not going to approach you in a physical manner, but they going to let you know, like, look, don't be doing it. And if you, show a little aggression or a little gangsterism towards them, or they just going to tell the people, and the people going to tell you. And now if they catch you dragging that jump across the floor, man, they going to be down on you. They trying to give you a charge. They trying to lock you up. They trying to do something to cross you up because you ain't taking heed to what they saying because they worrying about the floor. They ain't worrying about you eating. And they ain't worrying about your nutrition. They ain't worrying about, good conditions in there that you got to live in and sleep in. They ain't worrying about your safety, all the violence. They ain't worrying about nothing. They worrying about keeping this institution clean so they can keep impressing the administration and they can keep getting this money that they getting, to house us up in there like animals. So it's crazy how dudes will, get on the side of that whole Hoppin' Bob stuff and get with that as if they better than everybody else and you in the same position we in. Same dog bit you, bit me. They ain't gonna open the doors for me no faster than they gonna open it for you. And the crazy part about that is you'll find out that once you be locked up long enough, you find out that most of these dudes don't even want to get out. I'm telling you, these are the very few people in prison that's really not pressed about getting out. Because for a lot of them, life is more comfortable for them in the position that they in now than it was ever on the street. They in a boss position, as you would say, because they can do what they want, they live how they want. And a lot of them cats, they would give them dudes single cells, man. In a whole block of double cell people, they will be the only one to have single cells. Their top bunk will be open. They got their property and all of their stuff on their top bunk, their food or whatnot. Cells clean and dressed all up. They don't put nobody in there with them because they know whoever they put in there with them is going to eventually look at them like they Hoppin' Bob, like they the police, and then they going to have problems. So to avoid all of that, they'll get them dudes a single cell. So normally when you see the ones like that with the single cell, especially in a whole double cell dorm, you already know what it is. That coupled with the job that they work over at the administration, you already know what the count is. You know what I'm saying? Leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? That's the message right there. Leave him alone. And I remember when I started first seeing it though, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, this is crazy because like I say, even during the era when I first came in where, they'll brutalize a snitch or whatnot, you had very few of them and they was, you had to seek them out. They weren't as obvious as they became as the years went on. As the years went on, man, they was just, man, they was obvious as I don't know what, man. Like I say, you had Buffalo. And, like I said, he might be getting out right now. I do remember a couple of months ago, somebody said he had made parole and he was probably getting out. And he probably did close to 40 years, And you got different type of institutionalized, though. You got some dudes that's institutionalized that I wouldn't consider to be Hoppin' Bobs. You know what I'm saying? But they just institutionalized, whereas they comfortable in prison because they done been there so long, they know the system, they know how to work the system, and they feel good and comfortable in their own space. But at the same time, they ain't telling nothing, they ain't, doing no crazy stuff. But far as like, I ain't gonna say no crazy stuff. I mean no crazy stuff like with the police. They ain't messing with the police. They ain't telling nothing. They ain't snitching. They ain't doing none of that type of stuff. But they doing crazy stuff because they got so caught up into prison life that that's all they see. They don't even think about the streets. They don't even think about, you know, getting out on the streets or functioning on the streets because they function so well within this space that they in. You see what I'm saying? They function. They got a system down that works for them. How they operate, how they move, how their day-to-day things is, and they don't want that interrupted, they don't want that disturbed, and anything that interrupted or disturbed, then you won't have a problem. You know what I'm saying? I.e. my old beloved friend, man, rest his soul, God rest his soul, like I told y'all about Calvin Tucker. And you know what they used to say? Calvin Tucker, a.k.a. a bad mother, watch your mouth. Yeah, watch your mouth, man. Calvin Tucker was my man. But I would have to say without a shadow of a doubt, Calvin Tucker was, he was institutionalized, you know, because Tuck, we called him Tuck. Tuck ain't care nothing about going home. I mean, nothing at all. At the time I was around him, I think Tuck had been locked up almost close to 40 years. He was known all over the system. He was definitely a head buster in his day, definitely a killer in his later days, and he wanted to be played with under no circumstances. I told y'all little videos or spoke about him in videos before. I told y'all he had them freak books, man. Them freak books was his babies, those pornography books. He rent them out, he loan them out. If you rip a page, if you don't pay him, if you something happened to that book, if you waste some water on it and you mess the pages up on mistake, or you drop it and it fall in the toilet, or you loan it, man, your life in danger, man. Your life is in danger for that piece of paper. That's all it is, stacks of paper with pictures on it. But Tuck looked at that just like it was gold, just like it was platinum, because it was his and he took pride in it, and that's all he had. And he was not playing no games with that, and he let that be understood emphatically. Before you get it, before you rent it, before you borrow it, it better come back in the same condition that it left. And he meant that, man. And I'm telling you, he was a dangerous dude, man, a good dude, man, a good dude at heart. But he was institutionalized. You know, he ain't want you walking in his cell with your shoes on. If he even let you come in his cell, it was only a select few that could cross that door seal. If you come to his door to go to talk to him or say anything to him, and you just like step one foot in while you talking like, yeah, Tuck, hey, don't come in here. I ain't tell you to come in here. And you didn't want to do that anyway, because 9 times out of 10, if you walk to a cell, you better wave in front of the door before you peek in or before you walk in, because he probably be sitting in there buck naked with newspaper in his hand looking at TV, you know, looking at Family Feud or Wheel of Fortune or something, man. That's just how he do. I told you, when he come out to go to a shower, he just got his shower shoes on, and in the summertime it be so hot, Tuck would come out there with a washcloth in one hand, bar soap in the other hand, towel thrown across his shoulder, and flip-flops on, buck naked, walking his big butt on down to the shower like he ain't had a care in the world. And he had been on that institution so long, and so much people, the institution and administration knew him so well, that if anybody else try that, man, you will get a charge, man. You will get an indecent exposure charge, because his females might be working in there. You know, you probably 9 times out of 10 you will get locked up, you know. So Tuck can do it, man, and they ain't even messing with him. If you had a new officer that seen it and was like shocked and went and tried to lock him up, once they found out who, what, Calvin Tucker, just leave him alone. Because they knew, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, he was institutionalized. He worked in the tag shop on Powhatan. They had the tag shop up there where they make all of the Virginia state license plates. Every license plate you see on a car in Virginia was made at Powhatan Correction Center. Yeah, that's where they make them at. And those dudes had jobs in there. Tuck had probably been working in there about 20-some years, you know. And that's what he do. He went to work, made his money, came back. You know, bought food out the kitchen, messed with his little books, rented his books out, watched TV, and that's what he did. That was his everyday routine. That's how he lived. If you interrupt that or you disturb that, then you had a problem. You know what I'm saying? You had a real problem. Now on Powhatan, they actually had single cells designated for certain people who had been locked up a certain amount of time. A lot of times it was more or less for the dudes that worked in the tag shop so they could have their sleep because they worked so many hours in different times. So those was dudes that mostly got the single cells. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you had to be on the list. Probably won't be that many left, 5 to 6 cells left that wasn't for people who worked in the tag shop, and you had to get on the list to get in those cells, and you, depending upon how long you was locked up or, who was, gonna give you a cell, like based upon they like you, they might move you up on the list or whatever. But yeah, Tuck had a single cell, and, them dudes can lock their cell, put a padlock on it when they leave or whatnot, and couldn't nobody go in there. And I told y'all about one time they went in there, some new people, and shook his cell down and took them books out there, and he almost lost his mind, and the Major almost lost his life messing with Tuck. Tuck was ready to set it off over some books, man. Some books, and it is not a game, you know what I'm saying? Because like I say, these people lived this life, and he had lived that life so long that that's all he knew and that's all he was used to. And he wasn't pressed about going home. I also recall that I told y'all one time they went over there to get him for parole, and he was over there working, and he was trying to get a lot of overtime in, to make whatever money he was planning on making. And they came and got him and told him he had to go to parole hearing. Man, Tuck went over there mad as I don't know what because he didn't want to go. They told him you had to go to people over here, so he had to take off work. They don't get paid when they get off. So Tuck go over there and cuss the people out and telling people, man, don't call me over here for this BS no more, man. Y'all making me lose money. Man, F parole. And walked on up out of the parole hearing, man, and went on back to work. So yeah, this is real life stuff, man. This is what happens when I can only, surmise that it's from depression. Once you've been locked up so long, and then this is a lifestyle that you've been used to living, and now you done got to a point where you done did all the fighting, you done did all the stabbing, you done did all the, the crazy stuff, and then you done got to a point where you got respect in here, and a lot of people got more respect in there than they had on the street, because whatever was going on the street, they were struggling because they got themselves in a position to be locked up. So now you in prison and you done went through the struggles, the battles, and you done established a name for yourself, and you somebody up in this world, and them dudes don't want to lose that, and they feel comfortable with that. That's a status they feel like they can never achieve on the street. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the position that Tuck was in. Tuck was well respected and feared, and he was comfortable because he ain't had to worry about too much of anybody messing with him as far as inmates, convicts, or the administration, because they knew who he was and you knew what you was going to get when you come at him. So that's another form of institutionalized, and that's the form that I believe he was in. But he won't tell it nothing because he ain't care nothing about the police, you, or nobody else. That's his whole mentality. He was trained to go at the drop of a dime. Just get him mad, and you will see what I'm talking about. But the Hoppin Bobs, on the other hand, they own some other stuff, man. They trying to please the administration. They trying to be a part of the administration. If they could possibly even get out of prison, they would probably want to be a CO. You know what I'm saying? They would probably want to work for the administration. And for the most part, that's what they did. They worked for the administration. You know what I'm saying? I remember they had one named Major, man, and Major was on Greensville with me. Major had been locked up a long time too. I don't know if Major is still locked up or not, neither. But anybody that was on Greensville probably know Major, man. And the thing about Major was he was a real old dude. He moved real slow, but he always, this is when we still could smoke and stuff, he always had a cigar in his mouth. Kept a cigar in his mouth at all times. Lighted every now and then and get all the way down to the nub. He still got it in his mouth. Same thing, buffing the floors. But a lot of these dudes are smart too, intellectually wise. And he was smart, man. He used to, do certain things, like if they got programs or this, that to go, he'd be the one that's filling out the paperwork. You had dudes in there, man, at one point in time, they had to cut that out because you had dudes in there at one point in time, they would let them dudes be responsible for filling out time cards for when people work. So giving you your hours that you actually work was actually being done by a inmate, which was not supposed to be done. That's the administration delegated their job off to somebody else, but they getting the real check for it. But you had dudes who did that, man, who, more or less ran a building and only had to answer to, the sergeant or the lieutenant of the building, which in actuality, everything they was doing was actually the sergeant or the lieutenant's job. You know what I'm saying? This is why they put the type of protection on these dudes, because if you mess with these dudes, you really messing with them because you interfering with their job. All the work that these convicts or inmates, I ain't gonna say convicts because they was inmates, because they was definitely, they was deep in the game, but they had the rules missing. But these dudes was doing the job that, you know what I'm saying, there was supposed to be one of the people in uniform's job, and that's how Major was, man. He buffed them floors, and he did anything that they wanted him to do, and it ain't no doubt in my mind he'd drop that dime on you if push come to shove. But the crazy part about it was Major was doing everything wrong that he wanted to do. And they knew it, but they ain't even bother him, and they won't no need for nobody even to try to say anything about him because the people won't gonna bother him anyway. He had the biggest store box probably on the institution. And that man had so much stuff, man. I mean, it's uncountable, and then he'll get him different people and he'll hold stuff in their cell and he'll have so much stuff, man, that it'll fill up, man, probably 8 to 10 cells. He was strapped, man. He had a lot of money. He ran gambling games. He loved to play poker. I told y'all about one of the poker games he ran that I was in. He loved to run poker games. He run tickets, and he chased them boys. He loved them boys with his old freaky self, you know what I'm saying? And he pay them, and he put protection on to make sure ain't nobody bother him and stuff. So in essence, Major was a Hoppin' Bob and a Jangalang. You know what I'm saying? He was both. Major was both of them, Hoppin' Bob and Jangalang, because he come with his little old self and bent all over and with a little cigar in his mouth and approached them little young boys coming in there and try to sweet talk them like Jangalang. Anything you need, I got you. Just ask me what you eat. You need something to eat. You need commissary. You need whatever you need. You need tennis shoes or sweatsuit. I talk to Major. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, he got an ulterior motive. You know what I'm saying? He got an ulterior motive, and a lot of them little young cats get to fell up under prayer of Major. It's been times Major been in the block. He got two, 3 cells with his peoples in them. You know what I'm saying? And he had the money to take care of all of them. And the administration knew all of this, and they didn't bother him. And if you bothered Major, you can rest assured you're going up out of that building or you're going to jail. Either or. You ain't staying up in there if he ain't want you up in there. That's the power that he had, by doing what he was doing, working with the administration. This is what they was going to do. They was going to protect him because he was protecting them by doing their job. You see what I'm saying? So it's crazy, man. It's the crazy dynamics of prison. And all this is prison politics, but all these are things that you're going to have to learn in order to survive in prison. You're going to have to know who's who. You're going to have to know what's going on around you, and you're going to have to know what these people intentions and what their motives are. Because a dude will come in there and see Major and see him all old and walking around and hopping and puffing on his cigar and buffing them floors, and they might walk straight across the floor, and Major might say, walk around that way, and they might, man, who you telling them what? And don't even know who they messing with. You see what I'm saying? Don't even, because they looking at an old man, but you don't know what you're looking. You're looking at somebody who connected to this administration, and they going to have you jammed up somewhere, locked up somewhere, and you ain't going to know what happened to you. So you got to know your surroundings, you got to know who's who, and you got to know what's going on around you, man, because it's serious up in that penitentiary from every angle. And it's a lot to learn in there, man. It's a different world. I say that all the time. It's a whole completely different world, and from the outside, you living in different rules, different regulations, different people from all walks of life, man. And it's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game all the way around the board. And you got to figure it out as soon as you can, the best you can, because ain't nobody really gonna give you no game in prison. Because everybody trying to learn game themselves and everybody trying to survive themselves, and ain't too many people got time to sit there and babysit you or try to tell you something or try to teach you something. And even the ones who do, most of the time they got an ulterior motive. They got an ulterior motive. They ain't nobody in prison doing nothing for nothing. You know, ain't nobody doing nothing for nothing because number one, ain't nobody in there got nothing. And everybody trying to get something. Ain't nobody rich in prison. If you was rich in prison, you wouldn't even be in there. You know, or you'll be somewhere at one of them fed prisons, or you be somewhere at one of them old plush prisons, but you wouldn't be in none of them joints that I done been in. That's for sure. So all the dudes that cried out like they were rich and they had this and had, man, you ain't got it now, cause it ain't help you not be here. You see what I'm saying? But you got those dudes in there, man, and they everywhere. And then as time went on, it just went to another level. It went to another level, man. I seen Hoppin Bobs on some super duper status, man. And as far as the Jangalangs, they actually had a dude in prison named Jangalang. And Jay Williams talked about it. Me and Jay Williams it was actually a dude in prison named Jangalang. And guess what? He act just like Jangalang.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.